So in previous lecture we have already seen the reproductive system of Taenia solium, and now we will start with the breeding and life cycle of the Taenia solium. So how the reproduction or contamination or spreading of this Taenia solium takes place. So upon attainment of the sexual maturity, the tapeworm starts its reproductive activity. So as we have already discussed, the immature proglottid, mature proglottid and the gravid proglottid. Okay, so gravid already have the embryos which are present. So what happens that generally a fertilization that has happened. So self fertilization is the normal process in this condition, and during copulation from enter its own vagina, the autocopulation, or one may inseminated by another proglottid from different portion of the worm. This may happen. This is made possible by folding of its strobila. So what will happen? The strobila will fold. So two types are there, as you can see. Own autocopulation means within one proglottid, okay, the copulation will take place, or otherwise you have one proglottid and you have a folded as this is a tapeworm. If there is a folding, so from sperm from worm, proglottid will enter into the vagina of another proglottid, and because of that the fertilization may takes place. So either the self fertilization, sperm received during the copulations are stored in the semen receptacle. Okay, and then fertilization of oocytes and formation of egg capsule occur in the type. So a large number of capsules thus formed into the uterus for storage. So this activity is most marked from the 400 capsule to the 500th proglottid. So the large number of accumulate in each uterus, which hypertrophies and form 7 to 10 lateral branches. So the gravid proglottid, usually beyond the 60th or gravid proglottid is the main part. Now what happens during the life cycle and how this gravid proglottid will be useful, that we will see. So one of the few terminal proglottids are detached every time from the strobila, and so within the at the time, and these pass out passively with the host fecal matter. There is a mistake here, it's not face, host fecal matter. So it will be present in the host fecal matter. So this process of shedding right proglottid is termed as apolysis. Remember this term. What is apolysis? The process of shedding right proglottid is called as apolysis. Now these gravid proglottids are inactive, okay, and along with the proglottid eventually disintegrate. The egg capsule remain viable for a considerable time in cool and moist condition. So these are inactive initially, but in if you talk about Taenia saginata, they are active itself. So development, what development actually takes place within the human host and how they go out. So as you can see, the embryonic development begins prior to evacuation of the gravid proglottid from the host embryo. So once it is out, the proglottid contain embryonated eggs capsule. Now we already know that the gravid proglottid is the area where already embryonated eggs are present, capsules are present. So single large yolk cell become associated with the fertilized egg. Okay, yolk cell associated with the fertilized egg. So as you can see in these diagrams, you have the zygote, yolk cell. Okay, these are the capsule. Okay, now two cells get enclosed by the thin delicate capsule. Embryogenesis begins. Okay, so here as you can see, the morula formation within the capsule takes place. The first cleavage of the zygote results in the formation of large cell, the macromeres. Okay, as you can see here, the macromere formation is there. Okay, and the small embryonic cell. Then you have the cells produced by division of the macromere become filled with yolk from the white line cell. So you have this outer envelope, and later you can see the inner envelope formation is there, and inner development takes place. So while this process are going on, a structureless outer envelope with gelatinous granular consistency is deposited by macromere under the capsule. At the same time, morula develop into the embryo. Okay, so total development takes place, and when it is fully formed, embryo is composed of somatic cells, germinative cells, and penetrating gland cells. So there will be formation of somatic cells. You can see penetrating gland cells are also present. Okay, so these somatic cells and gland cells are there, and hooks are also visible. It is further marked that presence of 3 pairs of hooks. Okay, it is therefore known as the hexacanth. Remember, 3 pairs of hooks means total 6 hooks are present. That's why it is called as hexacanth. Remember this term. What is hexacanth? Now, a fully complete structure including the hexacanth, the embryophore and other envelope is termed as oncosphere. Remember. However, it is also customary to use the name oncosphere for hexacanth itself. So many times you will come to know that in books they will mention what is hexacanth or what is oncosphere. So many times instead of hexacanth, oncosphere, this word is used. Remember. Uterus of gravid pleurotic ready to leave the human host. Okay, after this development, and this oncosphere is the infective stage of the Taenia solium. Measures about 35 to 45 micrometer in diameter, and develop further only when it enters into the suitable secondary host, usually the pig, and there you will have the formation of the bladder worm. So next stage is the pig. So how the entry takes place? The ordinary pigs are omnivorous, they eat anything. However, there is one thing, that is they are opportunistic coprophagous. So what is copro? It is a dung of fecal matter eating. Okay, phagine means eating. So dung or fecal matter eating can be carried out. Thus when they feed upon human feces contaminated with these gravid proglotid eggs, they become infected. So young pigs are especially susceptible. However, you can observe in other pigs also. So upon ingestion by the pig, the encapsulated oncosphere enters the alimentary canal on the secondary intermediate host. Now here what happens, the hexacanth or oncosphere is hatched or released from the enclosure. So it is in enclosed or protective, it is present in a protective shell. Okay, so this hatching or opening will take place. This hatching will take place. How this hatching takes place? By 2 processes: enzymatic digestion of the embryophore outer area, activation of hexacanth to become motile and rupture the oncospiral membrane. So when oncosphere reaches the stomach, it is exposed to digestive enzymes, especially the pepsin. Okay, gastric secretion. Now this embryophore darkens and enzyme digests the cementing substance which bind the keratin blocks of the protective cover. And then what happened? Disintegration of embryophore and hexacanth which is present inside, it comes out. And yet the embryo is still enclosed within the lipoidal oncospiral membrane. So it comes out, but still there is one outer covering that is called as lipoidal oncosphere membrane. So this is also present and inside the outer layer. When the organism enters the duodenum, okay, pancreatic lipase acts upon the membrane in the presence of bile salts, and this permeability lipase it is, okay. So oncospiral membrane, lipoidal oncospiral membrane, so it consists of lipid. Nothing happens in the stomach. When it comes towards the duodenum, then pancreatic lipase enzyme which digests the lipoidal membrane, lipase digests the lipids. So lipoidal membrane acts upon the membrane, okay, and here it breaks open. So the permeability of membrane increases and hexaconch become activated. Now it become activated. So embryo now uses its hooks to tear its way through the enclosing membrane. So wherever they are present, they will just open the membrane. Now hexaconch or oncosphere release in this manner in the pig's intestinal employs its hooks into the histolytic secretion of penetration gland. As we know, penetrating glands are present, hooks are present. So these penetrating glands rapidly bore its way through the host gut mucosa and carried away into the bloodstream. So when they are in intestine, what happens? With the help of hooks, they will try to attach themselves in the wall. Then with the help of the secretion gland or penetrating glands, they will continuously produce some enzymes which will start digesting the inner wall, and they will enter into the they will break open the wall and enter into the bloodstream of this particular pig. Now such parasites settle in the lymphatic vessel or connective tissue. So connective tissue in any muscular part of pigs, and they may be, most of the time they are present in thighs, diaphragm, shoulder or heart, okay, but they may present in other areas also. So what happens here, that it will be present in other areas. So if you look at the life cycle, now how the entry takes place within the human. So these are all present in the bladder worm, in the form of bladder worm. I have already shown you. This is the bladder worm, okay. So in muscles or in other areas of the pig, this bladder worm is present, and when this bladder worm will be consumed by the humans, okay, so the flesh will be consumed by the humans, these measly flesh, then they again enters, and here again the development takes place. So when so in man, what happened, the definitive or final host is Taenia solium, as we know. So these measly part bladder worms are present, those are consumed by humans, and when they are inside, so the organism as passes through the gut is successfully exposed to the pepsin to stomach, bile salts in the duodenum, and this stimulates the bladder worm, which responds by tumming inside out of the proscolex from the bladder, and the rostrum, hooks and sucker takes their definitive position. And here actually the young parasite now anchors to the intestinal wall, and soon the bladder is digested while the neck begins to bud off the proglotid. So what is happening here, initially they are invaginated inside, okay, and here the head comes out. If you look at this diagram, then what is the position initially? The Cysticerus is ingested, and what happens here, when the gut, it is present inside, and there is again a membrane which is present. When they are exposed to the bile salts as well as the pepsin within the stomach of humans, okay, not this time not in the pig, in the humans, when they are exposed, at that time the outer membrane, there is a stimulation of bladder worm which responds to the eversion, tumming inside out, means it was inside, okay, and its head come out, or scolex area come out of the, or also called as proscolex, from the bladder, okay, and the rostrum, hooks and sucker take their definitive position. Now the head area is at their position. Now it appears as a thin projection from the large bladder. It looks like a large bladder is there and a very thin projection is coming out of it, okay. This is a typical Cysticerus, means what, bladder tail. It looks like a bladder tail, but actually it's not a tail, it's a head region or a scolex region, which is a scolex in short neck. So large bladder and short neck is observed. So this is about the development in the human host. Now in next lecture we will talk about the adaptation of the parasitic life. Okay, then we will see how the what are the effects of the host, and what is the diagnosis, and what kind of treatment you can give. Thank you.